Hello. I didn't expect anyone today. This is awkward. Well, welcome to the third episode of the Shakakapow Christmas calendar. Come in. All right. What are we doing today? What? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. So in today's episode, we are taking a look at Hillbilly by Eric Powell. Yes. Okay. All right. So, Hillbilly is written and illustrated by Eric Powell. And Hillbilly is also published by Albatross Funnybooks. And Albatross Funnybooks is Eric Powell's own publishing company. So this is a self-published comic book. You know what? I can't actually talk anything more about Hillbilly before I tell you guys a bit more about Eric Powell and why his comic books are really cool and absolutely worth checking out. So, first of all, Eric Powell's illustrations and his style is just so freaking amazing. It's just so awesome. Like, look at that. So visually, his comic books are just so stylish. Yeah, that if that is a way to describe this. It's very comic-y, and he doesn't use much. He doesn't use a lot of colors, but there's a lot of black and white and some colors here, some colors there, but it's just always really cool, and there's a lot of details. Yeah. And if you guys watched the Halloween episodes, we did a Eric Powell comic book there, Big Trouble in Little China. That was written by Eric Powell and John Carpenter. And in that video, I also mentioned The Goon. And the reason I started reading The Goon was actually because of the style and how really cool it looked. So visually, The Goon as well is just amazing, and it's very weird and cool and funny. I mean, look at this. Yeah, you should absolutely check out this one as well, but that's a tale for another time. We might get back to The Goon. So visually, Eric Powell stuff is really cool, but the other reason why Eric Powell stuff is very interesting is that he has this unique ability to mix anything, just like any genre, he could make a fantasy, sci-fi, horror, zombie, comedy, and it's going to be really cool. So you'll be like, that cannot be good. And then you read it and you're like, this is freaking amazing. I want more. Yeah, so this is why Eric Powell's stuff is always interesting. He has this way of mixing genres and things that you did not know could be combined or should be combined, and it's always very well done, and it's presented in a really cool way. Okay, so now you might understand more why I really wanted to show you guys Hillbilly. So Hillbilly is a weird fantasy, dark fantasy horror comedy. And it's set in this folklorish, medieval, not medieval, but like weird fantasy world where we follow this lone wanderer named Rondel, and he travels the lands, the mountains, the forests, and he helps innocent people, and he vanquishes evil. He kills monsters and witches. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. And this is very cool, but it's also, it reminds me a little bit about, it reminds me of The Witcher mixed with The Spirit, kind of also a little bit Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, it's weird to read this when it's sometimes creepy, sometimes funny, and it's always interesting. I have to show you guys a little bit, and I'll also, we can take a look at the start of the story. And this is how we get to learn a little bit of our main character, and we get his origin story. And this origin story is so good, and the presentation is amazing. So our story starts with this kid, James, and he's wandered off by himself, and he's fishing by the river, and then he smells some strawberries, and he goes to pick up the strawberries, but this is a trap by a witch. So the witch lures him and puts him to sleep, and as the witch is about to grab him, there is this chop, and there's a cleaver that chops her hand off, and we meet our hero, Rondel. And I mean, okay, I'm going to read it because it's so cool. So the witch is like, my hand. And Rondel comes forward and he's like, there is but 2 facts of which I'm sure. Today is Tuesday, and a witch is gonna die. And the witch is like, but today's Wednesday. And then he throws his cleaver, and he's like, there is but 1 fact of which I am sure. And chop, and he kills the witch. I mean, that is awesome. So yeah, he saves the kid, and then he's like, so kid, where are you from? And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And like, okay, let's get you back to your village. And as they're walking, he's because they have some time to kill, Rondel asks like, so kids, do you have any cool stories to tell? And James is like, yeah, I heard this cool story about this warrior that got his abilities or his power from a witch, and he carries this axe, and he's really badass. And it's actually, we learn very quickly that the story is about Rondel. So he's like, yeah, I heard that story, but I heard it a bit differently. And then he starts to tell his version of that story. And this is how we get his origin. So I'm not going to say too much about his origin. You have to read it because it's so cool. But when he was born without eyes and without sight, but he gets eyesight in a very cool and interesting way. And the cleaver he is carrying is actually, it's the devil's cleaver. It's the devil's actual cleaver. It's a torture weapon that used to belong to the devil, and it somehow kind of ended up in this like world. Yeah. And what else to say? So you have these short stories, but it all feels very connected. You have reoccurring characters, and you have an overarching story, and it's just so cool, well written, and yeah, it's freaking badass. You gotta check this one out. If you like fantasy, horror, cool comic books, just like, if you just want something good, this is absolutely worth your time. Especially if you want something that doesn't remind you of anything else. Or, yeah. So, Hillbilly by Eric Powell. Okay, guys. That was all we had for today. And I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by, and good night. Yeah, alright. Okay, H. What do we do now? Can I leave? No? Still filming?